If you've ever stood in your garden with a hose in hand thinking there has to be a better way, let me walk you through my irrigation system. No fancy tools, just a little bit of time required, and how it makes my garden work with all of the plants and flowers and the busy life that I lead. So let's get started. Let me show you how I put this together. Let's start at the most important piece. This is the timer that I use. It is a beehive timer, 4 ports, and it hooks right here to my water. Now this has been taken off because we had freezes, some weather, and I didn't want my water line to freeze. But if you can see here, I have lines that connect right to it and get it to all the places that I need. Here is just one line that goes through. I've also got many over here. These are my 1/4-inch lines. These go to my flower pots that are right by my home. I've also got a line going here, and it travels up my door around to this flower pot here. Let's take a step back and see how this looks. So I've got a line here. It goes underground right here and comes out right there, goes into around my tree. And you will see that I've got my lines here. On this tree, they go in a circle, and this is a drip irrigation. These drip holes are 6 inches apart, and what happens is, okay, right here, there's a little hole every 6 inches, and it goes around and waters the entire flower bed. Again, this one is in a circle. If you can see, lighting goes. I also have a line connected right here so that it goes to this flower pot. And this is just in here, another smaller 1/4-inch drip irrigation. This brown line is a 1/2-inch drip irrigation. So previously I had done the drip irrigation in the larger flower bed, sort of like I did in the around the tree. Is I looped it around, made it curve around, and go around the flowers. I found that wasn't working out so well. So last year I redid it and I found a better way, and let me show you how I did that. On my larger flower bed, you will see all of the brown lines. Those are drip irrigation as well. Just for reference, this black line, again, it's going under here, snakes around, goes back and connects to the water line that's right here. That is a solid line, no water. Water just flows through it to come to the drip irrigation. These are all connected by T connectors, and what that looks like, let me show you, like this. So it hooks all those lines together so that I can make a cut here, continue this black line all the way across, because I don't need quite as much water up this way. And then this is connected, and you'll see like right here is a hole every 6 inches, and you'll see that this goes all the way down. While it's not quite straight, it starts up here, each line, and ends down here. Now I'll show you the other end in a minute because that is a little bit different, but I want to show you some other pieces that are used. So this piece, if I just have to connect 2 pieces together, here is just a connector, really simple, just slide it on. And if I need to make a turn for whatever reason, here is my corner or turn. So I believe there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 lines here, but I do have, let me show you over here. There's another connector right there, and that brings another line this way, because the bed is wider down here than it is up at the top. The other thing I have is the hydrangea requires more water, and I did a circle on it. But what I could have also done, if I didn't want to do the circle, they make these little pieces, and that can go directly into it. It connects right here. Push it into the brown line or black line if you're doing solid line, and that will drip right at the plant. I chose to circle around the entire hydrangea because for me that was easier, especially at that time when I did this. My flower bed was completely full of flowers, so I did with what I could. Now these lines come all the way down and they connect down here. As you can see, sorry, the sun, as you can see, I've got concrete right here that heats up during the summer, bakes the plants that are here. So I do have, instead of that black line, I used the drip line going all the way across so that this end gets more water. And you'll see that, let's say this line is going around because my water box is right here. So I try to keep that clear, but this is snaked all the way up through the top. And then again, we've got more over here, and this is what it looks like. Now, I will be coming in and putting compost over top of this and feeding the soil. I just haven't gotten to that yet. So for this system, while I was working around all of the plants and I had a lot to go through because the bed was completely full, it still did not take long. I was working with it as I went along. A couple of things to think about is if you lay out the lines, they soften up, so they're easier, more manageable, easier to get around and bend, or kind of like my tree, circle around. So that is one thing. The beehive timer that I use, I have 2 of them. This one is a 4-port, in the back is a 2-port, and I really like those because I can do them off of my phone. So there's an app on my phone. If I need a little extra water, I can turn it on manually, or if there's rain or rain delay coming, or for whatever reason I don't need to water that day, I can just stop it easily. So those are a couple of things. Now there's many different ones out there. This just happens to be the one that I really like, and I'm used to it. I've been using the beehive for several years now, so for me it works. You know, I've spoken before about how I would not do in-ground irrigation, and while that means that I'm not going to bring a company in and I'm not going to tear up my lawn to have it done, it doesn't mean my plants don't need to be irrigated. It just means I've found a different way, and I don't want to be out here every day watering, you know, at 100 degrees. I don't want to have to stand here with a hose, you know, making sure my plants are getting watered. My beds were absolutely full last year. They thrived, they survived, they were gorgeous. And that has a lot to do with the irrigation system and being able to just set it and forget it. The other thing is about doing something like this is if there's an issue, if a plant is getting too much water, too little water, you're able to find the pipe easily. You're able to look at it and say, oh my goodness, you know, I have a leak, or this hole is clogged, so let me cut out this section. And these are simple things that may take 5-10 minutes, and it's fixed, it's done, forget it, and you move on. So I am able to just get hands-on and look at it, and I love that aspect, because when it's all underground, something happens, you never know, and you can't fix it unless you tear up the yard. I hope this video helped you to gain a little bit of knowledge, but also realize that it's something you can do at home. You don't have to hire it out. You don't have to spend a ton of money. This entire system for my front yard maybe cost $300, and that's including the timer that is about $85 just on its own, and the rest were just parts and pieces. And I also have extra parts and pieces, so if something went wrong, I have enough to fix it without having to get more. I'll leave links below for you to have for the parts and pieces that I used. And if you have any questions, feel free to put them in the comments, and I'll be happy to answer what I can for you. Thanks so much for coming along, seeing how we can make your life easier as it did for me. And I believe it should all be easy. Let's not have to suffer out in a garden, and just truly enjoy it. Thanks for coming along today. Until next time, bye.